Hi, and welcome to Venngage. I'm going to show you how to create your action plan presentation to reduce your ecological footprint. First thing you're going to do is go to venngage.com and sign up for free. I suggest you use your school account to do this so that you can verify the account and get started today. Or if you can use data on your phone, you could always do it that way and get to your account and approve your account and get started today. So the first thing you're going to do is sign up and then get logged in. And this is what you're going to see once you do that. The first thing we're going to look at is up here in the top right corner. You could always pay to upgrade if you want. You don't have to do that for this project, but there are templates, your designs of things that you make. You don't have to worry about your brand. If you do need help other than, when you're at home, you could always go to this help, and this will just be your account information. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at the recommended or featured templates that they have. Okay, so we're at recommended templates now, and that's this tab right here. If you notice, some of them are beginner templates, which is probably where you're going to want to be at. If you scroll down some, you can see intermediate, advanced, totally up to your comfort level about which one you want to choose. Some of the templates are more geared towards graphs or mind maps like this one. So you can just scroll through all the templates and see what you think may work for you. Now I'm just going to go ahead and go to the top because you can do that on your own time. If you notice, I can hit preview. It'll open up what the template looks like. This is the one that I used to help give you an example of what your work should be like. And so I'm going to show you, some steps about what I did using this template so that you can create your own action plan from your own template. So you are not allowed to use the same template as me. All right, so once you've chosen your template, you're going to hit create. And this will open up your template. So we no longer need this up here. Let me change the window for you and we'll start looking at different things you can change on your template. Alright, so the first thing we want to concentrate on is going to be how you're going to change your text. Now, I've made available for you to see over here these different drop boxes. So to open these up, you just click on the arrows and it'll drop down what's below it. So we're going to look at text first. You have a title here, but this is not going to be the name of your, infographic. So you can use the same font if you like. I personally don't care for that font, so I'm just going to delete that totally. If you wanted to use the font, just double click in the box and you can rename it your title. So I'm going to delete that, and I can click on title here. It's a totally different text, and it tells you, click to edit the text. It highlights all of it. So I have five ways to reduce my footprint. And you can make your title whatever you want. It just needs to make sense as far as what the project is. All right, so notice this four arrowed cursor come up. That means I can move my box around. If you don't have that, that means you can only select within the box. Now, I did change the size of my box so that I could fit the entire text into the box, and I just dragged it, clicked, and I'm dragging while I'm clicked down with my mouse, okay, to do that. And see how it's over to the left? If I want to center this, I can do that here with alignment. So that's to the left. I'm just you can justify left, you can center it. It's much like Word works, okay? So I'm going to keep it centered. The best thing to do to make sure it's totally centered is to drag your box to the very left and the very right, and now you know it's in the center. The next thing I want to show you is how to change your font. So if you notice, I did change the font here, and I've zoomed into where you can see this. So right here is a drop down and you can select different fonts. We were Roboto, and so it has a lot of different fonts available to you if you do decide to change it. And here's the size of the font here, and that's totally up to you, whatever you think looks good. Just make sure, you know, you don't want your title to be too small. So just pay attention to that. Down below, when I get to that, I wouldn't change those fonts if I were you. So you have an undo button here as well, and a redo button. Notice when I'm not clicked on the font, it doesn't show font options. And so some of the other things you can bold. So I could bold this. I could italicize it, underline it. You know, a lot like Word. You can change the color of the font here. This is the line height, so if you wanted to adjust the line height, that might be good for you if you wanted just a little spacing or to get it closer to the top or something like that. Alright, so this is bulleted list, things like that. You could put a hyperlink here. You can edit things, lock it so you don't accidentally move it. This is to move things forward and backwards. So take a look at this. If I highlight this title, if I want to move it behind the sun, I could keep moving backward with it or just move it to the back. The issue there is now it's behind the red background as well. So I could move forward. I can click on the red background and move it to back. And then that would show up my font again, so, or my text there. It's totally up to you to play with. This sun doesn't really go with 5 ways to reduce my footprint, so you can just select it and hit delete. To keep your chin up doesn't really go, so I can select that and hit delete. The stars don't really go as well, so I'm just going to remove the footprint down, and if you hold shift you can select multiple things. So I'm going to select all the stars and just hit delete. The next thing I want to show you up here is that if you select, see I can click off of it and then click back on the background color here behind the title. I don't really care for the red, and so you can change, you know, those. I prefer, you know, probably just a white background, because what I'm going to show you next is how you can put a picture up here or just put an image on here. So notice I just changed the width of the box, and then what I'm going to do next is show you how to put an image right here. So let's zoom into that. Alright, so to put different images onto your infographic, there's an icons drop down here, and you could type in your, you know, a keyword for what you want to search for. You can scroll down and see all the different sections. There's a lot. And so I found it easier just to enter what I'm looking for. So it's 5 ways to reduce my footprint. So I'm just going to type in footprint. And I probably don't want an animal footprint. Premium ones you have to pay for or have a premium account. So any of the ones that don't say premium are free for you. If you click on it, see how it popped up over here? So I can move it, you know, with the 4 arrows, and then I can resize it. This little circle up here allows me to rotate it. I'm just going to put a footprint here. And then I can change the color of the footprint over here. So color 1, I can make it green. These swatch colors are colors that are already on the infographic. So those are a really good option to choose from. Be sure not to click the X or it will get rid of the color. Now let's say you want to make it a color that's not on the infographic. You could, you know, still select one. That's not a big deal. But just these are available to you that are already on there, which is a good idea just to make everything, you know, flow better to use those. Color 2, what that does is let's choose this pink down here just to show you. So let me go back and select it. Now, in order to get the second color to show up, you got to change the fill. And so what that means, let me go down a little bit further. It's filling in with that second color. So if I put 76, 76% is going to be color 1, and then the rest of it, 24% is going to be color 2. And so that's all it does. Like I could try to make just the toes show up, maybe a 74%, maybe a little bit more. See how that works? If you follow the footprint, you can see it. You can, again, change the color of your font too if you wanted that to match it or something. It looks silly. I'm not really a big fan of colored fonts, but I mean, it's your infographic. It might be better to have the font white and then maybe have a background color or something like that. Alright, so that's your icons. There's also available to you, let me show you this real quickly over here. You don't have to worry about charts or maps, but I do want to show you pictographs. Background is for the entire background. You're not going to do that. Most of these infographic templates are separate background colors. If you find you can't change it that way, then just hit on background and you can change it there. Alright, pictographs. These are pretty similar to icons. The difference is if I go to footprint here and I select the same footprint, look how many footprints show up. So maybe sometimes you can find a pictograph that's not under icons, but it's not very often. Now you find something here and you want to use it, but you don't want this many of them. Or maybe you do want a lot of them, but not this many, or maybe you want more. If you go up here, you can change the columns and the rows. So this is the rows because they're horizontal, and then here's your columns here, and it'll tell you if you hover over it. You have to be selecting it in order to change it. So let's just say I want one footprint. I just do one, and one column, one row, and then I can have another footprint. But I don't need another one, so I'm just going to hit delete. So that's pretty much the gist of it. These numbers here that you see are actually over in icons. So if I clicked on icons, I could put the number 1, and it has a bunch of different number 1s there. Okay. I can select this picture and delete it. If my first thing is to recycle, I could type in, recycle in my icon. If I can spell, there we go. You hit the search or enter, and it'll pop that up. Again, all of the premium ones are not included. They do cost extra money. I know there's a recycle. There's show more option. There's one. Yeah. And you can just make sure it fits, make it bigger. If you wanted to change a template around, that's totally up to you. That would be totally fine for you to do that. What I mean by changing a template around is, let's say it doesn't have a top 5 on it. It has 6. You can always delete the 6th one off. Or maybe it only has 4 and you need 5 things. You can add a 5th number. All of that can be added over, with icons. Make sure you're changing the template. You're not going to have the same pictures. I wouldn't expect you to use any of these same images for your infographic. None of these same words. So you're going to just click on them, double click to change it. You can always change the font. Don't really recommend doing that all the time unless it's your title. So that's pretty much the gist of what you need to know for creating. Let me show you how to get everything saved. One really cool thing about Venngage is that it saves the entire time you're working. And so you don't actually save anything. It will automatically be saved under My Designs when you come back in. When you're totally done creating your infographic, you're going to publish it though, so that I can view it. So you're going to go to Publish. You can always preview it if you'd like. But when you click on Publish, this is the name that I'm going to see. So you're going to want to put your last name there and then hit Publish. And it's going to give you a URL. When you click on that URL, that's what I need. I need your URL. So you are going to write that down and submit that to me so that I can look at your infographic. And that's it. So I hope you enjoy being creative and making your own infographic with Venngage.